Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Kaeyoh and welcome to a video here. This is going to be a commentary on a Hero League game I played as Zool, and I wanted to pick a game that really illustrated the strengths of Zool, specifically on maps like Infernal where there's an objective and lanes that you can rotate in between, how strong the 4-1-man split soak can be, and just overall how to team fight effectively as Zool and how to make the most out of his kit. Just to talk about the teams a little bit, I'm on the red team here, and for the red team, it's going to be Stitches, Leeming, Kerrigan, Tassadar, Zool. So, what does our team have going for us? Well, we have the Stitches to look for hook opportunities, we have the Kerrigan to look for the big combo burst, and then we've got a Tassadar healer, which means we're not going to quite have as much poke and sustain fights and everything, but the shields are still going to be really good. We're all going to have a little bit of extra health going into fights, and just that overall task presence, constantly refreshing shields on people. So yeah, we do have a lot of burst. The Leeming is there to combo off of Kerrigan and my root, so he's going to have some opportunities to get kills there, Mr. Sausage. On the blue team, this could be our villains for this game. They've got an ETC, Karazim, Zeratul, Greymane, and Sylvanas. So what do the Zera team have going for them? Well, they're going to have a lot of push power with the Sylvanas, so they're going to be able to group up and push things down a lot more effectively. If they do get Punishers, sorry, I was going to say Immortals, that's the other Diablo map, but if they get Punishers, they're going to be able to capitalize on them more because of Sylvanas constantly disabling our buildings. So we got to watch out for that. They got a lot of bursts. They've got isolation tools with Zeratul, and of course they have the big stun to set up kills. So what I'm expecting in team fights is for them to try something like an ETC power slide with somebody in the back line getting VP'd, like our Tassadar, and then just using Greymane and Sylvanas to burst them down. So with that being said, let's get into the game. But first, let me just go over what my mentality and what my kind of thoughts are going into the game, what my objectives are, and what I want to accomplish. So as Zool, you have a lot of wave clear, and you're going to be able to control the map, right? That's what Zool does best. So you want to take as many opportunities as you can to put pressure on the map by pushing lanes and killing minions. Doing mercs and all of that, contesting points, that all comes second to just raw push of lane. And this particular game, because I knew I was going to be pushing lanes, I do go for the full skeleton build. And basically what I'm hoping will happen is during times where the team needs to split up, like if there's an objective, for example, I'm going to try to put as much pressure on the rest of the map while everybody's concentrated at one of these shrines, and hoping that I can get more value. If they have one person split off to try to defend, they're going to have to keep up with a whole lot of wave clear. So that's what I'm thinking. Also, just in general, once team fight phase comes, I need to be hitting roots to set up for the Li Ming and just looking for good poison novas and being careful not to get trapped in a mosh pit. So yeah, with this mentality, it's not that I'm saying I don't want to team fight. I don't want to be there in team fights. I know that's inevitably going to be part of the game. It's just that to get an experience lead in the early and mid game, it's going to be all about pushing and controlling lanes. Also, if I need to fight on objectives, I've also got the W, which actually is really good at clearing the shrine minions as well. Alright, so let's finally unpause the game and get started. So, quick note about the mid fight when you're up against a stun tank like ETC. In this particular scenario, if they're going to come up here and have ETC in front, I'm not just going to go up and W the wave because I'm a pretty easy kill target actually, and I want to be careful for that. One thing with Zool is with this first mid wave, you actually don't have to be killing the minions to get skeletons to spawn. As long as you're there, getting credit for clearing them, or if you're close enough to get your skeletons to spawn, you're still getting a lot of value out of that with the push. However, we already poke out the ETC a little bit. He's playing back, so I get a really early clear on this, and I'm going to go straight bottom. And this is looking really good for me. So immediately we clear out bottom, 100%, get this cleared, and going straight back to mid. And you're going to start seeing that what they're trying to do is use Zeratul to gank top. And we have a Tassadar top, which is actually ends up being really good, and Hamchuk plays it very well. He avoids getting killed during all these Zeratul ganks, which is just allowing us to free reign on the map. And you'll see each time we clear these waves, we're getting a whole lot of pressure on the ammo and health of these front walls. And hopefully that's going to give us a nice advantage going into Tier 4 and Tier 7. So back up to mid here. Zeratul was kind of looking to catch us in rotation, but without dropping a B here, we're going to get right back on it. You can already see how low this mid wall is getting. I mean, they're getting punished really hard for this constantly. Going bottom again. So I kind of typed this thing out here, and what I mean by that, I see the shrine activating top. So what I'm saying is that I'm going to be pressuring out mid and bottom constantly, rotating back and forth. I'm going to keep doing that while the four of them are top. This is an important thing, by the way, too. You should always try to communicate with your team when you're doing Hero League and let them know what you're doing. I know a lot of people are just like, I'm just going to ignore all the chat. I don't want to hear anybody because it's all annoying. But I think communicating with your team is an important tool, and just try to ignore people that are being a pain in the ass. But in this particular situation, I want them to know this, because if they're going to be up there as 4, I want them not to fight if there's 5 enemies there. So that's why I'm saying this. Okay. So Greymane stuck here clearing. He's not there immediately. And Kerrigan's going to take the long rotation up the top. So going right back to clearing waves. And I know it's just kind of like a snooze fest, right? It's like, well, I want to see some high-level Zool play here. But honestly, it's about getting the most value out of your kit. And this is one of the best things you can do to win a map as Zool. So immediately, Greymane's going to be clearing that. And he chooses to go top here. He wants to go help his team out. And I'm just immediately going to clear bottom. And if we look at the map, there's no way they're going to get this soak. This soak is going to be going to me for sure. And in this situation now, they're going to be in a 4 versus 5 top. So I'm really hoping that once they see that there's 5, if they notice that it's going to be hard with Zeratul, that they pull back. And if they start getting with the objective, it's fine. Honestly, the first Punisher, you never want to get too hyphy about. It's not going to take much at all, especially if you pull it over the wall here. With 4 turrets shooting at it, it's going to go down extremely fast. So let's see how they play this out. Meanwhile, I'm clearing bottom, rotating back up to mid. And uncontested, these skeletons are going to drain about half of the ammo of these per rotation. So up top, we get a little bit too excited there. Unfortunately, a bad body block for us. And they didn't quite notice there was 5 in time and get good enough positioning to where we end up losing 2 there. So at this point, it's like, okay, well, did I mess up? I think that's what you have to look out for, and that's the trade-off here. I'm going to be pushing these waves extremely hard, putting a lot of pressure on the map. But sometimes people are going to get caught or die, and that's okay. The Kerrigan even realized the mistake there of going in with 5. They probably didn't even know Greymane rotated up until that last moment. But nonetheless, we're still kind of contesting as 4. And now at this point, Zeratul has decided he's going to try and contest the roam, because I've already taken the mid front wall completely down here. And now I'm going to be working on the bottom front wall. Once they have no more ammo, all this push that you're going to be putting on them is just such a pain in the ass for them to deal with. And we're already getting way ahead in the experience, despite losing 2 at top just now. So as you can see, this is probably going to be going to them here, and that's totally fine. Again, here's a mid-wave pushing straight into the well and the tower here, and I'm just clearing another wave bottom. And Zeratul really can't keep up with this at all. So here's the Punisher that was taken. Let's see how much this gets. See, it gets pulled over the wall and dispatched pretty quickly. Here, I'm getting pressured by Greymane and Zeratul on both rotations, so taking a little bit of damage there, but still got the tap, and I'm still doing okay. So that about evened the game up. Because I was rotating the whole time, I got like 2 front walls basically. Well, I didn't get the bottom front wall, but it's completely drained and vulnerable now. Mid front wall is completely gone, and we got all that experience. They missed some soak. They got 2 kills and a Punisher, and so it pretty much evened it up. If they wouldn't have gotten those kills, we'd be way ahead right now. So going back to the situation, a little bit of brawling going on the map. Very close call for the Tassadar there. And I'm just doing my thing. And like I said, I know this is just like, holy shit, does this guy literally just rotate between mid and bottom the entire game? And I don't. There's more action to come. But this is putting a lot of pressure on them, and I think it's the right way to be playing this map especially. There's a lot of situations where this works. Just the idea that it's something that Zool players should really learn to work with is this 4-1 setup, where you can allow your team to 4-man roam because you can yourself soak 2 lanes constantly and pressure out 2 lanes pretty easily. So let's speed up a little bit here. A little bit of poke going on. Okay. Couple kills top. Okay. So now we've got the shrine spawning bottom again, and I'm thinking the same thing where I want to go mid and top. Immediately, I'm just looking for the best opportunity to put pressure on the map. So top is getting a little crazy here. Deep dive, they get another kill on Zera. Because that's happening with the shrine spawning now, there's not quite as much pressure for me to go like push out lanes and soak and everything. I'm just clearing out bottom and basically going to start trying to activate the shrine. We also have the 10s here, so we've got a small window to get more of these minions before they actually are going to try to contest. Like I was talking about earlier, if you have the opportunity, you can still do extremely good shrine clearing with the W on Zool, and the Q as well to poke them out. So really, I mean, Zool is just, if there's one thing to take away from this too, is that Zool is extremely, extremely strong on this map. You've got great shrine clear and control. You can clear all the waves as fast as you need to. You can do the 4-1 split where you're rotating between 2 waves, constantly pressuring them out, letting your team 4-man fight over the shrine. So there's just a lot of versatility as to what you can do. And yeah, so back to this. Now we're level 10. I took Poison Nova here. Basically what you want to look for is if you're against a team with like a lot of healing that you don't need just like the raw damage, you want to control their team and make it easy for your team to just jump on their squishies so they can't just out sustain you. And that's really the difference of where Skeletal Mages versus Poison Nova comes in. In this particular fight, they are very all in with the Kerosene. They have to just engage the fight and basically get kills. They can't just sustain fight all day. So in my opinion, Skeletal Mages isn't quite going to get as much value here as if they had like something like a Task Brightwing maybe, or just a Mouth and a Task, really crazy sustained options like that, where if you can just drop Skeletal Mages and get on those vulnerable healers, you'll get a lot more value out of it than a Poison Nova, which would get healed up pretty easily. Okay. So what I'm thinking basically in this fight is that I don't want to get moshed. I know they don't see me right here, but right now I've got an opportunity to, like I was saying before, I want to hit roots so I can set up Ling Ming damage. So I hit the root here, and immediately he VPs, the Zeratul sees the opportunity to peel because he probably thought ETC was going to get engaged on harder. But there's the VP. And I have a little bit of a weird poison over here. Basically, what I'm trying to do is if they're all going to set up to engage on these guys right out of VP, I want to at least get my dot on them before the fight starts. And my Poison Nova does get, 4 people here. Even though it was used up here, the range on it is extremely big. And I know they're going to stay in the area because they want value from the VP. So immediately the silence comes out once the VP goes down, and we do a good job of kind of repositioning around during that window of time. And now the second root is going to come out. Really nice palm, perfectly timed. But they've used everything now. And one more root. So that was 3 roots on ETC to final 3 roots. I think I just held up 2 fingers like an idiot. 3 roots to finally take down the crazy cow, but we did it. And so we win the fight. And all right, so let's go ahead a little bit. You'll notice even here though, I'm not pushing with the Immortal. I'm letting my team 4-man push with the Immortal. Meanwhile, I'm going to soak mid and top and put as much pressure on the rest of the map as I can. So that's going on, and here's where we really start getting that huge lead, because while they have to defend this Immortal, meanwhile I was pushing whole waves in mid. They're losing multiple lanes of soak for 5-man defending, and really just falling extremely far behind. Here I see an opportunity to dive top, just going in. Okay, so this was actually crazy that he lived there. This is an extremely good turnaround for them, and this was a very scary moment in the game. Luckily, this fort doesn't have that much ammo, so it's not going to be like infinite damage on us. But as soon as I see that Mosh come out and I realize the fight's going to start on us here, that's when I'm going to blow Poison Nova. And somehow, amazingly, the Carrion here survives, and we wait. The palm is perfectly kited out there. Even though he had poison on him, he didn't take enough damage to die there until the very end, and somehow Kerrigan lives from that, which is just insane. A little bit greedy of a dive, and they had a really nice. They did a really great job of turning it around. The ETC being in position there to just like come out and mosh us immediately was really good. So, all right. Immediately after that's over with, now we've got a 3-level lead. You know, so everything is a little bit less important to look at because of the huge stat advantage. But we'll just get through it real quick. A couple other team fights that I think are worth looking at. Okay. So here at this point in the game, by the way, the outer forts are pushed out and it's a little bit later in the game. I don't have to worry nearly as much about the soak, especially when you have a lead and everything. You want to make sure that you're grouped, that way people don't get picked off, because that's one of the only ways you're really going to lose at this point. If we're sticking together and they 5 versus 5 fight us, there's pretty good chance we're going to win that fight. This is their chance to fight, by the way, because it is 13 to 15. They want to fight on the even tier. We're not quite 16, so this is their last chance to fight for a while. So really positioning is extremely key on Zool, I feel. And in these kind of fights, try to get in a bush where you're not going to be standing back here where he can mosh your whole team, including you. Try to be on the side where you can punish them for engaging and all-inning by hitting a Poison Nova once they go in, or just hitting a root and then resetting your position and waiting for another good Poison Nova. So here I do exactly that, just like you saw me do in the early Shrines fight. Throw a root on somebody if you've got good follow-up damage and just let them do their thing. I'm not sitting in a position where I'm going to get moshed. I'm just throwing my root out there, hitting him with my Q, and letting my team follow up. So of course, I'm not going to get even touched here by this mosh. They go in. Perfect timing on their engage because we're not 16 yet. But because of my positioning, I'm going to get a beautiful Poison Nova here. And I just have great positioning where I'm debuffing their whole team. I'm there to catch people on their exit. And this is an absolute massacre fight. So we just destroyed them. So that was a perfect fight. It's pushing in. Sound effects are going crazy. We get a little bit crazy on the dive, but it's doing alright. It's kill after kill after kill. Alright. I think that was probably the last good fight of the game. Once you have a 4-level lead, it's pretty much a joke. They're not going to win team fights unless they are hitting miracle moshes. So this is looking really, really good. And we get a good flank on them here. Unfortunately, the Poison Nova does tick down Palm there. Didn't get as lucky as the first time, unfortunately. Yep, and with this Punisher, we should be ending the game handedly. So just to recap the build real quick, so you guys can see what I was going for here. Like I said before, I went all skeleton talents. Most of the time, I always think Shade is the best option, unless you're against like a really strong double tank frontline, without a lot of like punish for melee, because you want to be careful with that. Standing in there, standing around an ETC, for example, just to get Shade damage isn't going to be worth it. I mean, backlash damage isn't going to be worth it if you end up getting moshed and killed. So, and then just the full skeleton build because I knew I was going to be doing so much rotation. Yep, and just a clean, easy end to that game. And that's about it, guys. Yeah, so I hope this was a little bit revealing to see a little bit of like strategy behind Zool, how to 4-1 split, and just overall get a lot of effective pressure out on the map as a Zool and win games basically. It's actually pretty easy to do that too. Just knowing how much you can influence the game by splitting and pressuring a map like that and splitting up the enemy team and letting your team 4-man roam. A lot of times a 4-man roam can get an insane amount of pickoffs and just push down towers constantly and basically do everything they need to do without much resistance. It's like having Vikings, where you have 4-man roaming together and the Vikings soaking everywhere. You don't have to worry about the soak. Well, with Zool's pushing everything else on the map and clears waves so effectively that he's going to be good in rotations. So yeah, Infernal, this is a great opportunity to do this strategy. Also, Dragonshire can work really well. Towers is good, but it's a little bit of a long map to pull this off on, but it can work. And of course, Tomb of the Spider Queen. But in that one, you're usually just 4-man roaming together anyways, so Zool's going to be good either way, but it's not quite the 4-1 split. Anyways, guys, let me know what you thought about this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.